nothing better on a cold day than a comforting bowl of soup. So making your own stock takes time, but transforms the contents of your pot into liquid gold. Here to show us how to make it, we've got home economist Mairlyn Smith in the house. People that get confused between stock and broth. We want to explain the difference right now because this drives you crazy.
Makes me nuts.
It makes you nuts.
One of the many things that make me nuts. Okay, so broth over there is in a container. You can usually buy it in a Tetra Pak. I usually buy it with no salt, but a broth is one ingredient only. So chicken broth is just chicken, beef broth is just beef.
Okay.
You know, so that's how it goes. Vegetables is a mix-up, but it's usually just one ingredient.
Okay.
Stock adds all of these wonderful things.
All of these
stock
vegetables.
is more intense in flavor. Okay. And so whenever you're going to make a really hearty soup, if you use a broth, it's going to have hint of whatever.
Yes.
But if you use a stock, it's going to have oomph flavor and more nutrient dense, and that's where I love that part, okay? The other thing that's really big that makes me insane is that people make stock with cooked bones.
Okay.
And you shouldn't. So, you know, they cook their turkey and then they boil the carcass.
I thought that was totally normal.
Well, it's normal, but it's wrong, okay? So there you go.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So not with a cooked, so don't do it with a cooked bone, don't do it with any bone?
With bone, but not cooked bones. So
not
you need raw bones, okay? So I'm going to use, now you can use either, you can buy like a short rib if you're going to do a small pot, or like when I buy chicken thighs and I debone them myself, and then I keep them in the freezer until this bag is full, and then I would make a big chicken stock.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or you can go to the grocery store now, and pretty much they're selling these are called marrow bones.
Yes.
But I use them for stock because it's a much better flavor. And that was like $5, okay? So we've got that. I'll just put this in here.
Okay.
And then we're going to add a whole bunch of water. Now, so I did an experiment because I thought, well, if I'm going to do this for the show, I might as well tell everybody what I know. And so what I did is I did some on the stove, some in a crock pot, on a slow cooker, and then some as a pressure cooker on those crock pots. I'd do both.
A little experiment.
I did. There was like stock all over my house. And what the good thing, what I found out was that the one that tastes the best is the one in the crock pot for 16 hours.
Okay.
So
slow and low.
Slow and low, baby.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let her go.
So this one turned out great.
This one turned out great. The one in the pressure cooker was the second best, and then this was kind of tied. So I'm going to show you on the stove, but if you have one of these, do it on there.
That smells good.
So what we're going to add some celery, some carrots, and some onion, and you don't have to do, you know, good chopping or anything. Just throw those in, and then we're going to add some peppercorns. And I like pepper, so I put a lot in.
Me too.
A bay leaf, which I can't read because I'm vertically challenged. There you go. Okay, good. Throw a bay leaf in there.
Okay.
And then my secret ingredient is apple cider vinegar. And the reason I put the reason I do that is that it leaches the minerals out of the bones, so I'm getting a nutrient dense. You know, they talk about bone broth.
Yes.
Well, that's basically bone broth. Is they've cooked the bones for a really long time in there. But if they were a professional home economist,
they would know this.
They would know that. So you put the vinegar in, and then you bring it to the boil, and then you simmer it endlessly. And that's why I broke the lid. That doesn't fit. But anyway, that's why in the crock pot is so much better, because I just basically started first thing in the morning.
Yes.
And then after it's been made, then you have to strain it. Okay. So you're going to throw all that stuff away. That's why I use this kind of mess of vegetables, because then I'm not thinking I'm wasting anything. I'm just going to throw this in the composter anyway,
right? It's very smart.
Smart way.
Use it all.
Use it all.
Use everything you have.
You would strain it, and then once it was strained, you would, you know, titrate it. Oh my gosh, there's my science.
Titrate
We're going to titrate it into a jar here.
All right.
And
titrating.
Well, there's going to be fat on it, right? Okay. So the way that I store it is I put it in the jar, and then I put it in the refrigerator, and then you can see that the fat that's going to come off this. So that's one of the reasons it's too nice. No.
That looks good to me.
It tastes really good, but it's saturated fat, and I want to get rid of it. Okay.
Got it.
So
it's going to rise by itself to the top, so you can just skim it off.
Fat floats. That's why people. That's why I'm a floater, right? I can float on the water. And,
it's not a bad thing.
No, I mean,
you'll never go under. It's good.
I was in synchronized swimming in university.
Yeah.
And this one girl, she was really tiny, but she had
a lot of fat.
A lot of fat. So she couldn't sink. And so in synchro, you're supposed to sink. So we were like, oh, anyway, so it's pretty funny. Anyway, okay. so then if you have extra, you could always freeze it if you wanted to do something, and then you can use the stock in a, you know, in a reduction. Like there's a whole lot of things that you do with fabulous stock.
That's a nice way to freeze it.
It's a trick. Okay, now we're
That's a
moving
good
this
little
out of the way.
trick.
All right, so now we're going to make the next day we're going to make the soup, okay?
All right.
And so you've thrown all those fabulous flavors away. I mean, not the fabulous flavors. You've got the flavors in there, but you threw all the vegetables out.
Yes.
So now we're putting them back in.
Okay.
In the soup, okay?
Okay.
So once again, you're going to have onion. Now, I don't put garlic in my stock because I might use that stock for something that I don't want garlic in, but I always put it in the soup. So
Okay.
there's garlic. You're going to get the recipe on your website. And then this is, I got this meat on half price, and so I just cubed it up and I would brown it up like that, and then I'm saving money as well.
Oh, please, like you're not getting the half-price meat. Get the half-price meat.
Get the half-price meat for the soup.
Throw it in there for the soup.
Throw it in there.
Why not?
Okay,
And
then,
use it that day if it says use it right now.
Oh, you have to do that, or freeze it.
Or freeze it.
Okay. And then I'm adding some ground thyme. Now I didn't put any salt in my stock because I like to be the salt master, and so I put table salt that has the iodine, some more pepper, and then I'm going to throw mushrooms in here. You could have put mushrooms in your stock if you had some kicking around. And then we're going to add back into our vegetables. If you have some tomatoes kicking around, this is a great time to use stuff that was kicking around. Dump that all in there, and then you're going to add your stock that you had made the night before.
Yes.
You would have browned this up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then my pièce de résistance is I'm adding barley. That's really good for your heart.
Nice.
And you're going to boil all that up, bring it to a simmer, cook it up, and 35 minutes later you have the heartiest soup you're ever going to have, and your body's going to go, yeah, look at everybody.
Filled with flavor. Filled with flavor.
There we go.
So cityline.tv for that recipe, and thank you for clearing all that up for us.